Okay.
Julie, hi, nice to meet you. Thanks
Nice
so
to meet
much
you.
for taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah.
So you participated in a Novos case study where you did a blood test before you started your Novos regimen. 6 months later, you tested again. And the test that we look at is your pace of aging, which is the gold standard when it comes to understanding how fast or how slow you're aging. So basically, anything above 1 means that you're aging at a faster pace. Anything below 1 means that you're doing something good and you're aging at a slower pace. So you started at 0.76, and now your latest score is 0.65. So
Correct.
essentially, that's an improvement of 14.5%, which is incredible, amazing, and
Yeah.
something I think you should be super proud of. Um, so obviously, this reduction in pace of aging got you on the Rejuvenation Olympics leaderboard. And not only did it get you on the leaderboard, it got you second place on the leaderboard, so which is incredible as well. So you're beating people who essentially like do this for a living, people like Brian Johnson, who is like on the sixth place, if I'm not mistaken, who's invested significant time and resources in trying to get on the leaderboard, and you're just doing it. So I would love to hear a bit more about that, like your perspective. Like, have you ever was getting on this leaderboard part of like your objectives in life, or did it just happen? How did Novos come into your life? I'd love to hear a bit more about your story.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's start from the beginning. Novos. So I was researching fisetin and its effects on senolytics and cellular autophagy. I'm always looking for ways to detoxify because of a previous bout of heavy metal poisoning. So then I kind of learned about senolytics, and I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. Now that I'm getting older, maybe I should be concerned with longevity. So researching that, then I heard about Novos, and at the time you guys were a startup. And so when I went to place the order, they said, hey, do you want to be part of a study? And I said, yeah, I mean, of course, like, why wouldn't you want to know if a product is making, if you're going to invest the money, if I could do that with every vitamin I take, oh, it would be brilliant.
That would be.
Yeah. And obviously there's more than fisetin. I was already reading about lithium, low dose lithium. Dr. Rhonda Patrick was talking about that. So I was curious. There was several other things in there, rhodiola, a few things in there that I was kind of curious about anyway. And I was like, this is great. Let me try it. And oh my gosh, I can be part of this study, see if it makes a difference. So I started taking Novos, and they gave me the blood test. They started taking it. And 6 months later, we did that second test.
Yep.
Those 6 months, unfortunately, were full of very life-threatening stress. And because of that, I did not have a continuous workout. I was not eating healthy. I mean, In-N-Out was a frequent meal, which is, if everybody doesn't know, In-N-Out, it's a famous burger chain here. So it's a fast food hamburger. I wasn't always eating the French fries, but anyway, and there were healthy bits here and there, but there were many sleepless nights. And so when we went to do the second test at 6 months, I thought, oh, I don't think this is going to work. But hey, let's do it anyway to see. And my scores had gone down from 0.76 to 0.68. I was shocked. I was just like, whoa, even with all this stress, I mean, even meditation, that was kind of on and off. Anyway, everything was just very stressful. And so I just thought, well, great, let me keep taking it. And then I think we did another one at 12 months. And
Yep.
at that second 6 months, what was stressful was kind of in a resolved position. And I was now in a place to, I joined the gym. I started doing the saunas and the cold showers. I started working out consistently. I was definitely sleeping 8 hours, definitely meditating every day, all the things that I talk about. And that score went from 0.68 to 0.65. So, it's just an incredible testament to what you guys are doing. And this product is, unparalleled. Again, unparalleled. It's great. And it tastes great. And I'm drinking some right now.
Yay! Love hearing that.
Like around 11 o'clock every day is when I have it. But
I do the same. I have it like after my breakfast. I'll have it as like a mid-morning kind of snack. That's my go-to time for it. Well, that's
yeah.
perfect.
And I get the flavored one. It's a bit sweet, so it's kind of like a sweet tooth satisfier as well.
Kind of fixes that like little craving that you might have midday.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear a bit more about like what's a typical day in your life? Like what's your regimen, your routine from the lighter days to the heavier days? Like what do you usually do?
So now I'm up, and this has been kind of pretty consistent. Backing up, I just want to back way up. Like my whole life, I've been pretty healthy. I was a swimmer, so I was always up early. And, you know, even when I was really young, I started swimming when I was like, I think 7 or 8, and my sister was the coach, so I would do like 4 practices for everybody's 1, you know, and I just was very energetic, I suppose. My mom was like, "Please go swimming."
Get
But,
that energy out.
yeah, for sure. So, and I've just kind of always maintained some form of like, even, you know, weightlifting and working out. That's been pretty consistent. Again, it was just those 6 months where I was not doing any of that. So it was crazy. Anyway, so my daily routine is still kind of in line with that. So I'm usually up around 5, and that is just time to wake up. I drink green tea. I pray. Right now I'm just rereading the Gospels. So that's just kind of my time to sort of, you know, wake up. And then usually about 7, I go to the gym. And so I just make sure my son gets off to school. Sometimes I try to go a little earlier because he's a teenager and he's like, "Get out of my, stop bothering me, mom, go, just go to the gym now." So I do that too. But anyway, so I get to the gym. That's usually on a weekly basis. There's like 2 days of like full body weights, 1 day with like just using kind of free weights. So there's a lot of different, I don't know, planes of action. I just try to keep that. And then I do another day full body, but it's like on the machines.
Okay.
And then there's 1 day, Monday is a VO2 max day. And that's a Norwegian 4x4. I'm sure if people haven't, just Google it. It's a great 4 minutes of all out. And I do 3 minutes of rest and then 4 minutes all out. So it takes about 30 minutes. So, and then I do like if I'm not doing that VO2 max every day, I'm doing cardio, like zone 2 cardio. And that's usually about 30 minutes. So, so my whole workout takes anywhere between an hour, like at the most an hour and 15 minutes at the very, very most. And then I head to the sauna and I do anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. I always kind of just keep varying it so that I don't get used to 30 minutes. You know, like I kind of want it to be uncomfortable. And I know I can't ever do more than 30 minutes just because of my time. So, you know, I just try to keep it all in flux. And then a cold shower. And people have asked me about that. I do live in Arizona, so it's not that cold in the summer. It is in the winter. It's pretty cold. Yeah, but you know, it's not like when I was up in Utah and I took a cold shower. I was like, "Whoa, okay, that's cold." That's really cold. But and those are about 4 minutes. I've timed myself because people have asked. So I 4 minutes in the cold shower. And some days I don't do it because I found I was getting quite comfortable in the cold shower. So the whole point is to kind of be uncomfortable. So, you know, like lately I've been like kind of making it warm, or some days it's just like warm. And then I do a little bit at the end to cool off. But I didn't really know that was part of longevity. I had just heard about this a long, long time ago. It was living in Europe and going to Baden-Baden, the spa there. Anybody, again, look it up, people. It's great. I hate to send you there because it's my favorite little secret spot in the world, but they have this whole thing. If you're German, they'll even send you there to help your immune system. So I knew there was this idea of like going from hot to very, very cold was very, very good for your immune system. So I just kept, I thought, okay, yeah, this will be great way to cool down. And then I had to work. And so I'm just working and kind of noshing throughout the day. So if people want to know like my eating plan, I usually come home, I have greens. I do this whole green drink, and it's like, fermented greens, and I do put maca in there too because I'm older. I think it's supposed to be good for hormones. I don't know if it works as well as Novos, and these things are all somewhat, I don't want to say like totally consistent. I'm consistent like 80% of the time for sure. So the weekends come around, I'm not always having greens first thing in the morning. But anyway.
I think that's life. It's just like you try to make the good habits stick whenever it makes sense. And then if you need a weekend off, you need a weekend off.
Yeah. I think this is what, I don't know if it's just age. I used to be very, almost like a hammer, you've got to do this, you've got to do, like really hard on myself about doing everything quite perfectly. And now I've just adopted this idea that like when you're looking at longevity, you're like, wait, I'm going to do this for the next 60 years, whatever, or whatever that looks like in 60 years, 50 years, however long, I can grace this earth. But so when you look at something long term, it's like, so I missed a day. It's got to work with my weekend. Like it's got to work for my whole life. And so that's kind of like when I tell people I'm doing this, it's not like I'm perfect every day. But so I do the green drink, and then somewhere around 10 is when I'll have my first meal, which is either yogurt, a smoothie, or another green latte. I'm all about the liquids. I don't know. Maybe it's Arizona. Just a lot of like protein drinks, or like concoctions as we call them. My dad used to always make these concoctions when I was little, and so I think I just kind of got this idea of like, oh, you can get a lot of nutrition and stay hydrated. So anyway, so that's kind of my 10 o'clock, and then somewhere around 11ish is when I'll go grab my Novos, and I grab a bowl of vegetables, and I just kind of nosh on those, and I get also like some protein source. So last night we made some shrimp, so I'll grab like whatever, the leftover shrimp. Maybe like the few days ago was like leftover chicken breast. And if I don't have any of that, I'll either have some like high protein yogurt, or I'll have a protein drink. But I just try to make sure I'm having protein with my vegetables, and then that's kind of like it for the day. Like the vegetables, I've been reading about this, but I guess the fiber in them activate your GLP-1, so like the stuff that the semaglutide is doing. Anyway, I'm definitely not hungry. And in fact, when dinner comes around, I'm kind of like, oh, I could eat, but I do, because I know I need a little bit more protein for the day. So I'm always aiming for like 100 grams of protein, a pound of vegetables, and then I don't really worry about the rest, because I feel like if I hit both of those, like it's kind of hard to eat too much other stuff. And in fact, there was some times where I'm having some problems not eating enough carbs, and it was impacting my sleep. So I had to kind of consciously add rice at night, or something. So
it feels like a lot of your approach and your philosophy to like your longevity regimen is like testing and learning, just trying to see what works for you.
Constantly. It's a constant experimentation. And then like I might get something and it works really well, but then I'll kind of get sick of it. Like the green drink, like I was doing moringa with my greens, and I was working up to a tablespoon. This is based on some Jed Fahey and Dr. Rhonda Patrick talks about it, and Found My Fitness. And she was talking about taking a tablespoon a day. So I was doing that for almost a year, and reasonably consistently, again, 80% of the time, but it was kind of messing with my thyroid. There's some goitrogens in that. So anyway, long story short, like I'm constantly testing and trying things out, and pulling things in, pulling things out. The only thing that's been consistent is the Novos. I take also, people have asked me about supplements. I take a vitamin B supplement, magnesium. I take anywhere between 400 and 600 grams a day, and then fish oil and vitamin D. But those other supplements I had been taking for 10 years before I started taking Novos. So that would be reflected in that 0.75 score.
Perfect. And then since you started taking Novos, any noticeable changes like in your mood, energy, anything that you feel has changed?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's it's funny. I feel like I have more resilience to like lack of sleep than even my teenage son. And maybe just because he's a teenager, but I mean, like last night, I only slept 5 hours because I had to work really late last night. I don't feel tired at all. Like I feel fine. Now, if I had to do that consistently, eventually I would. But I always say like, it's not like you walk around with like, I just had a cup of coffee energy. It's just that it raises the floor so that, when you
Yes.
when something goes wrong and you don't sleep enough, you don't fall down. I mean, I just feel completely normal today. And, I have energy throughout the day. I have to kind of almost make myself sit down and meditate before it was pretty easy. Before I started taking Novos, it was really easy. Like around 1 or 2 o'clock, I was like, yeah, I gotta meditate. Like, I just need to calm down. I'm really tired. And now I have to kind of remind myself like, oh, you got to sit down and meditate now. Like you need to like regenerate. So yeah, you just have more consistent energy to tackle whatever's in front of you. And like I said, that floor just gets raised so you don't ever feel wiped out. Because I've had days like that where you're just wiped and those are gone. Not
Being a mom to a teenager, I can't imagine the amount of energy it must take. So yeah, you need all the energy you can get.
Yeah, it's more about it's the mental stamina of like, like, okay, and he's learning how to be healthy himself. And so, kind of standing back and letting him make his mistakes and, so.
Yeah. So, and like, what is your philosophy on like quality of life? What is an ideal quality of life for you when it comes to like your health, your wellness, just like your general outlook?
Yeah, quality of life would have to include, obviously not only time for, but energy for family and friends, and then doing all the other stuff I want to do. Like, I lived in Germany, so I speak a little bit of German. I studied French in school. I lived in the Middle East, and so my goal when I sort of retire is to like get all those languages down. Maybe the Arabic, that might take a little longer because I really do want to learn Spanish and Portuguese too. So I was like, okay, that'll be my brain activity for quality. Like, I guess what I'm saying is like quality of life has to include like a brain activity. I have to have like the physical stamina to go do the things I do want to do, which is, obviously working out. But like I walked the Camino de Santiago. I didn't do the whole thing. We just did a little bit to test it out to see how that was. But we were walking like 12 miles a day. I want to be able to do that, well into my 80s, 90s if I can, because then I'll have the time to take the full 3 months. We were just learning like that there's a Camino that's opened up all the way from Croatia, and then I'd love to go to like Machu Picchu. I have all these different places I want to travel. Like as soon as my son graduates and he's in college, I've already said, I'm like, I'll be home for your birthday and I'll be home for Christmas, but I'm going to go to Argentina and I'm going to go down, like I'm going to explore Latin America, like, so I'm lucky in that I have a job that I can work from home and I can work anywhere in the world so long as I sync up my time to kind of, somewhere between LA and New York. So kind of going to Asia is a little bit hard because I'd be working all night, but I can, so Latin America is first on my list. And but I want to have that time to travel and the energy. So that's quality of life. Yeah, and just the mental capacity to make good choices and take care of myself as long as possible. I mean, like I want to be here for my son. I love him. It's the two of us where I have him and he has me, and when he gets married and has kids, I want to be able to help in any way that I can. And, I just want to have that energy, yeah, forever if I can. But, if I can, again, if I'm blessed enough to live into my hundreds and I've got the energy, great. I've met a woman recently, she's Italian, she's 96, and just blew my mind at how, I guess I kind of thought as you get older, you might get a little bit more weaker or like your muscles kind of, and it was none of that. She was all there. She's teaching a cooking class. She's amazing. And I thought, okay, there's my new superhero. I can easily make it to 100 and be completely fine.
You're definitely on the right track, honestly. So hopefully you're going to get all of that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. This was great. It's been lovely to get to know you a bit more. And yeah, congratulations again on all of the amazing work you're doing.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Thank you.